What if I told you the next chapter of Yellowstone will not just continue the Dutton legacy, it will test it in the middle of war? The ranch survived the Civil War. It survived the Great Depression. It survived blood, betrayal, and broken hearts in 1923. But 1944 is different, because this time, the world itself is on fire. And when the world burns, the Duttons burn with it. This is your first look at Yellowstone prequel 1944. The chapter that could change the family forever. The story of 1944 begins with a man who has already lost everything. Spencer Dutton is no longer the wild hunter we saw in 1923. He is older now, harder, quieter. The Montana wind has carved lines into his face, and grief has carved even deeper ones into his soul. The death of Alexandra did not just break his heart, it changed the direction of his life. Instead of chasing adventure across oceans, he buried himself in the land. By 1944, the Dutton Ranch is stronger than ever. Bigger herds, more land, more power. Spencer did what every Dutton before him tried to do. He expanded the empire. But power comes with a price. And the stronger the ranch becomes, the more enemies gather at its gates. Spencer rules the land with discipline, not emotion. The cowboys respect him, but they also fear him. He is not cruel. He is controlled. Every decision he makes is calculated, because he knows one mistake can cost generations. But here's the twist. Spencer is not alone. There is a woman living on the ranch. A widow. Strong. Quiet. Someone who understands loss as deeply as he does. They are not married. This is not a love story like Spencer and Alex. This is something more practical. Two wounded people choosing survival over romance. And from this union, there is a child. A new child. That child represents something dangerous. Hope. And hope is dangerous in the Dutton world. Because hope makes you believe the future can be softer than the past. Spencer knows better. The world of 1944 does not reward softness. It punishes it. At the same time, John Dutton, too, is now a grown man. The baby born in tragedy is now in his 20s. Strong. Proud. Carrying the same fire we later recognize in the Dutton bloodline. But unlike Spencer, John has not yet been broken by life. He still believes in honor. He still believes the world makes sense. And that belief is about to be tested. Because 1944 is not just about ranch wars. It is about World War II. While Spencer fights to protect the land in Montana, the world is calling young men to fight overseas. The Normandy landings are changing history. And the question hanging over the ranch is simple. Will John Dutton too stay and defend his family's empire, or will he answer the call of war? If he leaves, the ranch becomes vulnerable. If he stays, he may forever live with the shame of not serving. This is the emotional battlefield of 1944. Not just guns and land disputes, but duty versus legacy, country versus family. And while the Dutton men struggle with their choices, whispers begin to spread across Montana. Land developers, political figures, wealthy outsiders who see opportunity in wartime weakness. They believe the Dutton Ranch is overstretched. They believe Spencer is aging. They believe the next generation is distracted. They are wrong. But being wrong has never stopped powerful men from trying. At the same time, another branch of the family tree begins to move. Elizabeth's son, now grown, learns more about his father's past. He grows up hearing stories about Montana, about a ranch that should have been part of his life. And as he gets older, one question grows louder in his mind. What is mine? When he decides to return, he does not come as a guest. He comes with blood in his veins and a claim in his heart. And nothing is more dangerous than a Dutton who feels cheated. So now we have three forces forming. An aging lion protecting his kingdom, a young heir torn between war and land, and a forgotten branch of the family ready to demand its share. 1944 will not be slow. It will not be gentle. It will not be nostalgic. It will be a story about pressure, about inheritance, about a family trying to survive while the entire world is collapsing around them. And this is only the beginning. War does not only happen on foreign soil. Sometimes it begins at home, long before the first bullet is fired. By 1944, the shadow of World War II stretches all the way to Montana. Even on the wide, quiet fields of the Dutton Ranch, the tension is thick. Every radio broadcast brings news from Europe. Every newspaper headline reminds families that sons are leaving, and not all of them are coming back. And at the center of this storm stands John Dutton too. He is young, strong, and raised to protect what belongs to his family. But now his country is asking for that same loyalty. The Normandy landings have shaken the world. Young men from small towns are becoming soldiers overnight. Honor is no longer just about defending cattle and fences. It is about defending freedom. John feels that pull. Spencer sees it in his eyes. That restless fire. The same fire Spencer once had when he left Montana to fight his own wars. But Spencer also knows something John does not. War never gives you back the man who leaves for it. This becomes the silent conflict between father and son. Spencer does not beg John to stay. That is not his way. He simply tells him the truth. The ranch is under pressure. Rivals are circling. If John leaves, the burden will fall entirely on Spencer's aging shoulders. And Spencer is no longer the unstoppable force he once was. But John believes something different. He believes serving his country will make him stronger. He believes he can fight abroad and return home a better leader. What he does not understand is that war does not build leaders. It builds survivors. While this emotional battle grows inside the Dutton house, something else is happening outside it. Wealthy investors from the East are watching Montana closely. Wartime creates opportunity. With many ranchers sending sons to war, land becomes easier to manipulate. Taxes rise. Debts increase. Political pressure builds. And for the first time in years, the Dutton Ranch feels exposed. One powerful businessman emerges as a serious threat.
Charismatic.
Educated.
Calm.
He does not shout like a typical enemy. He smiles. He talks about progress. About modernization. About turning Montana into something greater. But behind those smooth words is a simple goal: control. He believes the old ranching families are outdated. He believes the future belongs to corporations, not cowboys. And he sees Spencer as a relic of the past. This man does not attack directly. He uses law. He uses influence. He builds alliances with politicians who believe wartime America must industrialize faster. Rail expansions. Land seizures for military training. Government contracts. All of it begins to squeeze the Dutton territory from the outside. Spencer realizes something dangerous. This is not a fight he can solve with a rifle. Meanwhile, inside the ranch, the presence of the widowed woman and her child adds emotional complexity. She understands Spencer's fear of losing another son to war. She sees how tired he truly is. And she begins to question whether holding on to the ranch at all costs is worth destroying what little family they have left. For the first time, Spencer hears something unfamiliar in his own home: doubt. And doubt spreads quickly. At the same time, Elizabeth's son makes his move. Raised away from Montana, educated in a different world, he sees the ranch through different eyes. Not as sacred land, but as inheritance. He studies documents, old letters, legal loopholes. He believes his mother was pushed aside after Jack's death. He believes his blood gives him rights. When he arrives in Montana, he does not come angry. He comes prepared. His approach is calm but sharp. He does not accuse. He asks questions. Questions about succession. Questions about ownership structures. Questions about what happens if John leaves for war and Spencer passes unexpectedly. These questions are not random. They are strategic. Now Spencer faces pressure from three directions: outside enemies trying to weaken the ranch, a son pulled toward global war, and a cousin quietly positioning himself inside the family structure. And then comes the moment that changes everything. John makes his decision. He chooses to enlist. The announcement is not dramatic. It is simple.
Direct.
He tells his father he will fight for his country and return stronger. Spencer does not argue. He simply nods. But In that silence is heartbreak, because he knows the boy leaving Montana may never fully come back. As John prepares to ship out, the ranch feels heavier. The cowboys sense the shift. The enemies sense opportunity. And Spencer, standing alone on the land he fought so hard to protect, understands a painful truth. The greatest threat to the Dutton legacy may not be bullets or lawsuits. It may be time itself. 1944 is no longer just a story about land. It is becoming a story about transformation. And transformations are never gentle. When a son goes to war, the ranch does not pause. The cattle still move. The fences still break. And enemies do not wait. With John Dutton II overseas, the Dutton Ranch enters its most fragile phase in years. Spencer remains strong on the outside, but inside, the weight is crushing him. Every letter from the front lines is short, careful, controlled. John writes that he is fine, that he is proud to serve, that he will return soon. But Spencer reads between the lines.
He knows what war does to men.
He knows that even if John survives, the innocents will not. And while John fights across the ocean, another battle is quietly forming in Montana. Elizabeth's son is no longer just asking questions. He is building relationships. He visits neighboring ranchers. He meets local officials. He presents himself as reasonable, educated, modern. Unlike Spencer, he does not lead with intimidation. He leads with negotiation. Some ranchers begin to listen, because the world is changing. Tractors are replacing horses. Big companies are offering contracts. Railroads are expanding. And many smaller landowners are struggling to survive the economic pressure of wartime taxes. Elizabeth's son offers them something Spencer never would: partnership. He speaks of shared ownership, shared profits, modern systems. He suggests that the Dutton Ranch could evolve instead of resisting the future. And slowly, doubt begins to grow among people who once followed Spencer without question. This is not open rebellion. It is quiet division. Spencer senses it. He notices the whispers stopping when he walks into a room. He notices old allies becoming distant. For the first time, he is fighting something he cannot see clearly: influence. At home, the widowed woman becomes more important than ever. She sees Spencer isolating himself. She sees him refusing help. She challenges him in a way no one else dares to. She tells him the ranch cannot survive on pride alone. This creates tension between them. Spencer believes strength means control. She believes strength means adaptation. Their child, still young, becomes a symbol of that argument. What kind of world will this child inherit? A battlefield? Or something rebuilt? And then comes the moment that shakes Montana. News arrives from overseas. John's unit has suffered heavy losses. There are casualties. Names are being released slowly. Families gather around radios. Fear spreads across towns like wildfire. For days, the Dutton house lives in silence. Spencer does not show emotion, but inside, he is reliving every mistake he thinks he made as a father. Letting John go, not stopping him, teaching him that duty comes before everything. Finally, confirmation arrives. John is alive, but he is injured. Not a simple wound. Something serious. Something that may change him permanently. Relief floods the ranch, but it is not pure relief. Because now the question becomes even heavier. When John returns, what will he return as? A hero or a broken man? Meanwhile, the outside enemy makes his boldest move yet. Using political connections, he pushes for government access to a section of Dutton land for military training exercises. It is framed as patriotic, as necessary. Refusing would make Spencer look un-American during wartime. It is a perfect trap. If Spencer agrees, he weakens his control over the ranch. If he refuses, he becomes the villain in the eyes of the public. Elizabeth's son sees this as an opportunity. He subtly suggests cooperation. He positions himself as the bridge between tradition and progress. For the first time, he openly challenges Spencer's leadership in front of others. The confrontation is calm, but electric. No shouting. No threats. Just two men with the same blood, standing on opposite sides of the future. Spencer realizes something terrifying in that moment. The ranch is not only being attacked from the outside, it is being redefined from within. And as war reshapes the world beyond Montana, the Dutton family begins to fracture under pressure. Because 1944 is not just about survival. It is about evolution. And not every Dutton will agree on what that evolution should look like.